Hello my lovely witches, welcome back for another little video. This one is a little flip through of a book that I've created predominantly celebrating the Wheel of the Year. So you might have seen, if you watched my video on my paper ephemera packs unboxing sort of video that I did, that I received this little journal made by Megan from Megan the Moon. I'll link her channel again down below. And it's so super cute. I stuck this on the cover, but because I thought it went really nicely with the fabric that she'd covered this journal in. So I thought I'd make this because it had just a few pages in it. Like, it was a nice slim little journal. And I thought, okay, I can do heaps of collage in it and it won't bulk up, and it was just a nice little project to do on something small. So I decided to do the Wheel of the Year. Now, I used a number of elements from the kit that I bought from Megan. You'll see a couple here, plus some other things. This is one of Molly Roberts' ephemera pack pieces. And so I've done my little wheel here. This is what actually made me think of doing this project, because the first page in this little book was this round coffee filter. And I thought, oh, wheel, that's really cool. So I thought I would do a Wheel of the Year book. So I've cut out some little pieces and I've stamped the name of the sabbat. And then this first page is more of a moon sort of spread. And then we go into the wheel. So the first sabbat that I did was Ostara, because that was the one that was just happening when I started the book. And I've just added all sorts of things in here. I've used watercolor paint. This is a jelly print on deli paper. This is just watercolor on watercolor paper that I've cut into these egg shapes. And then there's some pieces cut from magazines and books and what have you, some stamping and some colored paper. We've got Beltane. You can see, again, all sorts of bits of ephemera, bits and pieces, things that I've written in, marbled paper I've made. Lither with some lovely fairies from a children's illustrated book. And this, which I remember when I first opened the ephemera pack from Megan, that I was like, oh yes, that's perfect for a lither spread. So here is that lither spread. And Lunarsar, which Lunarsar comes at a time of year for me that I really hate. It's in the Southern Hemisphere, that's the beginning of February. So we're in a sort of early to middle of summer and it's stinking hot. And you know that you've got at least another 2 to 3 months of stinking hot, at least where I live in South Australia. It's dry, it's hot, it's horrible. You can't go outside without feeling like you're walking into an oven. You have to have the air conditioner on 24 hours a day. I just die in the heat. I absolutely hate it. So Lunarsar is my least favourite sabbat. We all have one that is not our fave. And for me, it's Lunarsar. However, I do love me a bit of bread. Give me all the carbs. So I try and focus on that aspect of this this sabbat, you know, seeing abundance and seeing harvest and all of that sort of stuff is all very well. But I'm just so grumpy at this time of year. So I just focus on the bread parts. And then we move into Mabon, which is probably my favourite sabbat, only because it usually falls at a time that is still pretty darn hot where I live. Autumn has not arrived by Mabon, but you just know, you can sense it's coming. It may not be there just yet, but it's coming. It's on its way. And it's at this point that I know we're finally getting towards the end of summer. We're finally towards the end of that stinking hot weather. So that's why I like Mabon the best. And then we have Sauron, which I quite like as a sabbat, but it's not, you know, I know that tends to be the witchy fave. Yeah, I like it because I like the weather, but it doesn't have, I think, the same witchy aesthetic, Halloween aesthetic feel here in Australia, because it's in May. It's essentially, you guys over in the Northern Hemisphere are all celebrating May Day when we're celebrating Samhain. So there's not a collective social feel of the spooky season, the Halloween season, which means that there isn't that to tap into when you're celebrating Samhain. So it just doesn't have quite the impact, I think, down under that it has up north. Oh, missed one. Then we come to Yule, which I love. I love Yule, even though it is celebrated in the middle of the year for us down here, so it doesn't have the associations of Christmas. Doesn't matter to me at all. I get together with friends. It's just lovely. It's a really beautiful celebration, and I've got my little Yule goat here. This is actually a picture of a goat that was technically wasn't my goat, belonged to my parents, but lived in my backyard with my dog for many years. Her name was Betty, and she was just the spunkiest thing. And I had a big Irish wolfhound, and they used to snuggle up together all the time. They adored each other. It was the sweetest relationship, and she was the coolest goat. The only thing is that I had to, I struggled because she used to try and pull my washing off the line and try and eat it. It is true that goats will eat just about anything. Her favourite thing was really prickly roses or blackberries. Blackberry bushes, not the fruit. She just wanted to eat the bushes. Amazing. She was pretty cool. She's no longer with us, but she was a very cool goat. So she's in there as my Yule goat. And I've got Krampus in here. Yeah. Yule's a fun one, and I love it. And in bulk, I also enjoy... apologies for... I don't know if you were able to see any of the cat, but he's been making crazy noises while I'm doing this video. But, you know, that's what happens with you. A witch like me who doesn't edit. I don't have time for that stuff. So here's my inbox spread, all about illumination. And then there's a few pages left in the book. So, of course, I just kept on collaging because why not? So this is a little spread to do with balance, light and dark. And then a spread just about magic in general. And then the last page there. And more goats, just because I like goats. They're very cool creatures. So there you go. That's my little Wheel of the Year book. I hope you enjoyed this little insight into my mini journal from Megan. It was so much fun to play in this book. It really was. Because it was small, it felt, I don't know, somehow more free. I knew that it wasn't going to take much to fill it up. So it was sort of a mini project. It was quite fun. I highly recommend. it's good fun to work in something with fewer pages, make a mini book. Books don't necessarily have to be big, thick, heavy tomes to be magical. And this is a fun little addition to my magical library. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it inspired you. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye, my lovely.